All right, I call this meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the pledge. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let the roll call show all board members are present, except for Scott Bauman. We will go to our showcase for the art presentation. Who's gonna be first? Primary?
Hello.
Well,
So I'm Susan Bartholomew from the primary building, and this is Bryson Robinson, and he is from second grade. And so the artworks that the students had to do this year, what Bryson had to do is we had calendars, and I pulled them apart. The kids had to pick a landscape, so we learned about landscape. And then, so Bryson picked one out. They had to draw on canvas board with pencil. And then after they did that, students only were able to have the primary colors, brown, black, and white. So any purples, greens, or oranges that they have on their paintings, they got mixing trays that they had to mix, which was a good challenge. We worked on it for about 5 weeks, and Bryson's picture, I was really awed by just how he took his time. I was very proud of you for taking your time, and he was working so hard on mixing his colors. So this is his painting. And so he was copying this. And now remember, any oranges or greens, he had to mix himself. And what I love, I also told the students that they have artistic license. So do you remember what that is? Did you want to tell them, or do you want?
I forgot, kind of.
Okay, so it's when they can add any information they would like to, or take off any information that they don't want to put on there. And so Bryson, I love where he saw the white, and there's white on the mountains. He saw the orange for the sunrise. And then he's got a couple eagles there, and my favorite part is his eagle. I loved how he worked so hard on the shape of the eagle, and he's got it flying in the air like this eagle, and he's got the trees over there that he had here. And so I was just very proud of him because he did a great job. So that is Bryson's picture. Did you want to hold it once?
Yeah.
And then you want to?
Yeah, can I get a picture of you guys together?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and then I have a photo bombing down there. I have a certificate for you too, Bryson.
Very well done. Hi, I'm Tom Jumper. I'm the art teacher at the intermediate school, and I'm looking for my art student Willow. I don't know if she's here or not. So I guess I'll have a stand-in. Mr. Beach?
Yeah.
No? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we were talking about Native American culture and all the different things that go along with that. The colors, the patterns, the images, all those different things, and the information that they impart to other people. And so we decided to do Native American, there we go, got it. Native American dream catchers. And this is her finished example of it. And she chose the colors based on things that she talked about with me, and also the patterns that she decided on, the 4 major images, the ones on the top, bottom, left, and right. And then there was also a pattern that they had to follow, and we put the pattern sequence on the back side, so they had to work that and make sure that it was in the right spot. Once they got that done, then they also ended up using string down here with some feathers and some beads. And those strings on the bottom are very significant too, because what happens is the way the dream catcher is supposed to work is that it's supposed to be hanging above the student or the person that made it. So that at night, when the bad dreams come, they get locked in the web here, and then in the morning, it gets burned up. Whereas the good dreams, they slide through and go down to the person that's sleeping, so they have her good dreams all night long. So that's how it works. And she did a really, really nice job of that. I just love the way that she did the painting. She took a lot of time with it. She was very, very proud of it when she got done, and made a lot of talks about it as she was making it. And it was just really good interaction. So I really enjoyed this process with her and with the rest of the kids, but especially with Willow. So that's hers.
Hi, I'm Julie Droogsma, the middle school art teacher, and this is Mira Willett, who is a phenomenal student and she just awes me with everything that she does and creates in art. And so Mira came to me in the middle of January for second semester art. And we were looking at different pieces of candy to create and recreate for Valentine's Day. The students had 28 different pieces of candy to select from. And Mira picked one of the most challenging pieces of candy to create. And we used a grid system so that they could get all of the proportions correct in the values. And this is Mira's candy. Wow. That she created. We used colored pencils. She used colored pencils, and I just love the way she got the shape and the form and all of the different colors and the highlights in the candy, even down to her signature. You get a chance to look up close. Her signature is absolutely amazing. And Mira titled it Candy Cloud. And I just love the way her soft, delicate touch meets the standards, everything. And I also want to say that today we can also celebrate it's Mira's birthday.
Perfect. Thank you.
It survived it. If it can survive 2,600 degrees, it can survive my sunglasses. I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just gonna set it right here. I think next year I'm gonna donate some jewelry to make up for you guys having to display that one for a year. So I'm Mitch Graysick. I teach pottery and jewelry at high school. This is Mitchell Stanley. For that reason, I refer to him as Stanley since we share a first name. So that's what I'm gonna call him moving on. He is an independent study, so I can't even really take credit for the prompt or talk about any of the project. This is all him. There's no 30 other kids making something similar. Everything is hand carved. So it's not like a rolled textured pattern. That's all kind of every single line was made with one tool, one mark at a time. Isn't it? It's two separate pieces or three? Two. So right about here-ish. This one was thrown on the wheel, then this one was thrown on the wheel, and then both of them kind of stuck together and built from there. But so I make a lot of like sports analogies when I talk about stuff like this, but like he's a senior. And when you have like a starting five that are all upperclassmen, you're kind of looking to the underclassmen, wondering who's gonna kind of step up and take the spot. I don't know if anybody can. In my 3 years, he's been by far kind of the most skilled wheel thrower I've had in class, and it's been really fun to see just from sophomore to senior year his growth, and just like I'm really concerned for you next year when you can't throw on the wheel. Like I don't know if I'm gonna get emails like trying to come back and make some stuff, but because 2 independent studies, 2 TAs, pottery 1 and 2. Like I think on paper he's in pottery 6 or something. So and to have somebody in the room that sets the bar so high for everybody else to kind of see what is possible in the room, but also somebody that's willing to help, that is setting the bar that high. So art show, we just had a really good showing, and one of Stanley's friends, Lee, took best in sight for ceramics. And I was sitting right behind when they kind of revealed that happened. And his reaction was like he was Lee's mom and dad. He was so excited for her. So to see somebody cheer on other people's success was really, really cool. So I'm going to miss you next year. I don't know who's going to take your spot, but congratulations. Mitch Stanley. Maybe.
By the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Stanley Cup. Yeah.
All right. Hi, I'm Susie Enright and I also represent the high school. My student is, I'm gonna do my best to pronounce the name. Ioana Paralampapoulou. She goes by JoJo. She is a senior as well. She isn't here, and I don't know if it's because I just get mixed up at my ripe old age of but she thought it was 6 a.m. the presentation, so she made other plans, and we discovered this last night, and she's already like looking for an apartment for college next year at Morris. So I don't think she's gonna be making it, but she's gonna leave her mark when you see her art. And I have something that I have to read for her. So this was a piece that I just asked for her to commission. I just said, make something for the district art office so that people can see it. So I am going to put it right here. And I'm gonna read her message because she is also an incredible writer. She got notoriety for the Scholastic Arts for a writing piece that she did. She got an award, and so she's amazing. This piece is about finally blooming and being the person. Oh, I'm gonna cry because it's intense. Okay. I haven't really read this. Being the person you were always meant to be. I believe that every person on this earth has always dreamt as a little kid to be some kind of person who is full of love and wants to give it out, no matter who you are. Well, the catch is that you have to let yourself bloom in order to be that person that you want to be. Everyone deserves to grow and be content with their life. This theme is extremely important to me as someone who's graduating. I think about this concept every day. As each second passes by, I realize more and more that I'm happy with who I am. There will always be some room to grow because, as cheesy as it is, no one is truly perfect. Part of being someone who's growing is that you need to acknowledge that you will have some flaws, and that's okay. With that, this piece is ultimately about finding yourself because it will be worth it. Soon enough, when you're on your last breath, you will look back and thank yourself for everything you've been put through to become who you are. And just like a neutron star, you exploded with light emitting off you and left a mark in the universe. Right before you burst, you will tell yourself you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. So this is JoJo, and JoJo comes to my classroom and she just puts the pedal to the metal, and she's currently got a series of drawings she's doing, so we'll be putting that together at the showcase. And she's always had superior ratings for 3 different art shows. An amazing character, amazing person. I hope you get a chance to meet her someday in passing. So sorry she's not here, but she is here. So, and I'm gonna end this also by saying, this is my 32nd year of teaching, and it still feels new and refreshing with kids like this. And I also am very grateful that we get the chance to do this, continue doing this, because this is, like I said, the 32nd year. That's a lot, except for COVID, but I really appreciate your support of the arts and continuing support for the kids. So that's what it's all about. So thank you very much.
What's that?
You can picture everybody and.
Sure. We're gonna take a few minutes so that everybody can check out the artwork, and we're gonna take some pictures too.
Yeah, let's maybe get the group with all the great art teachers with them.
Yeah.
And get I know Bryson and Myra and Mitchell are here. But the other ones we can recognize, and we'll take a picture with the board.
But the parts are just the.
So Mitchell, are you gonna continue art?
I'd like to, yeah.
Yeah.
What I
Have you-
tell.
have you
what I tell
decided
my
yet?
Seniors that get senioritis is you can't just walk into Michael's and pick up stuff to do pottery. It's a big, like, ticket to entry, so.
Yeah. Have you decided?
No, I haven't decided. I'm
Yeah.
taking a gap year for now
Yeah,
and
yeah.
gonna figure it all out.
These guys know it, but my son is an art teacher.
Oh, really?
And his specialty is pottery.
Pottery, yeah, where does he teach at? Oh, nice, that's a little this way.
Let's go all to the middle and you can, if you wanna be, there you go. Table. And when we're done, you can just put on the table and be showcased for the rest of the day. I think Devin, stick to the pot.
Okay.
Devin, you can stand next to Bryson and feel pretty good. There's room over here, Deb.
Sure.
At the end.
Wanna hang on to this one
Okay.
too, or?
Somebody else hold one?
I can move.
Sure.
There you go.
You don't have any glare from glass?
I do.
You want the tilted down?
Nope, that's good.
Okay.
Tip, yours, good. Oh, Deb, can you tip yours
More?
more? One way, yeah, a little bit more. There, perfect. All right, now hopefully you can see me and I can see you. And we'll take a few of these and we'll get that on the Facebook page or whatever page.
Did you wanna get a picture with
Your artwork
with-
will be
from your dad and
showcased here
mom?
at the Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any chance that Allie's from last year is still, she wants more? She kind of wants it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so not here another day though.
Well, if.
You know what it is?
You
know what it is?
It's the whale shark.
Yeah, it's right by my house.
Oh, okay, yes.
Why you don't know how good I can see that?
Yeah.
Good job, Brad. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only donated.
Shark is a kid is like, I know. Been years since I've seen it.
I didn't even know she made that. I didn't know that's what got put in. I thought it was a painting.
No, it's this.
Oh, I thought it was a painting.
It looks like, yeah.
The detail is amazing.
Yeah.
Just doing a lot of everything.
You did sign
It's
it,
okay.
didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
This one.
You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
I think it'd be showcased to all meetings.
I really don't think I should call it.
Even the white things added for.
That'll be showcased to all meetings.
Oh.
The white,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right for my art station.
Yeah.
We got one big one.
Yeah.
This.
Okay. Medium bread? Oh, okay.
Remember that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we will move on to citizen comments. And we have two tonight. So the first one on the list is Alex Fay. Would you like to come on up? You can right at that table there.
Right here?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna share a letter I wrote, to, a few, staff at our building, or to a few admin. I just wanted to also get it out to the school board, just to express some feelings. It's just been a kind of a heavy week, as we all know, but, I am gonna write, I'm just gonna read it because, that's what I have to do. So, to your school board members, community members, admin, I am writing a letter to express my feelings about the recent decision to eliminate science as a specialist at the primary school. I'm a staff member of Princeton Public Schools, a classroom teacher of kindergarten students, and a parent of 3 young children that are enrolled in this district. I was trying to come up with how to write this and which of those lenses would be best. I decided that I would speak from the heart to all of them collectively. All of those roles make up who I am, and they are completely intertwined and affect my feelings and perspective. The shock, disappointment, and frustration with the recent news about the decision to cut science as a specialist at the primary school is heavy on my heart, and I felt the need to speak to that. Today, I registered my youngest daughter for kindergarten at the primary school. While that moment naturally brings feelings of joy and reflection, it was followed by a feeling that I never experienced when registering my other two. I immediately felt a wave of sadness. That sadness was connected to the realization that Ruby won't get the same amazing learning experience so many other children in our district have been given. Science as a specialist. The opportunity to learn, explore, play, and wonder about the world around us in a learning space completely dedicated to that, with a teacher just as passionate about the life lessons and connections that are made in these young learners. So sorry. Okay. This class is so important to so many students and staff. It's an opportunity that students look forward to each week and get excited about their learning in a very different way than in their normal classrooms. Science as a specialist provides kids with the chance to do what they're meant to do: question, observe, explore, experiment, and play to deepen their understanding about the world. It absolutely breaks my heart that this wonderful class, that in my opinion is something extremely special and unique about our district and Princeton Public Schools, is being eliminated. It seems that we're going backwards in a world that is now driven by science and technology. Our students at this school have already lost their media and technology specialist. These things should be protected, as we've all known that we're facing challenges with enrollment. This is something that all students and families are proud of and enjoy. It is favored among many. My first grade daughter was brought to immediate tears upon hearing the news that this class she loves could potentially not be here when she gets to second grade. My third grade son's reaction was, "What? Why would they do that? Science was my favorite specialist." I am certain most students' reactions would be similar. Science offers our students educational connections to the real world, prepares them for their future, and gets them excited about learning at a young age. We have to look at the big picture and truly make these decisions based on what is best for them, the kids, even when there's other layers to consider. This decision to cut science was not based on that belief, and the effect it will have on student learning will be impacted. I know this was not easy, but the amount of people that are affected by this is many, and it needs to be heard. Having science as a specialist is important, valuable, fun, educational, and crucial to a child's development. As a teacher and a parent, I'm extremely disheartened that this could be the end to an amazing experience that Mr. Alstert has given students for so many years. Students love that class and we need it. I love working here and I love having my children go here. Princeton loves its kids, and I believe that to my core to be true, but we need to do right by them and speak up for the things that directly impact their education. I feel strongly that this is one of those things. I am hopeful that this can be looked at from another lens. I'm going to hold on to hope that that can change. Thank you.
Next we have, John Volsma.
Beautiful. Now, I'm gonna piggyback on her. And this is what I'm talking about safety,
Yeah,
but I'm a school bus driver for Palmer, but I'm not here representing Palmer.
okay.
I have students. A second grade student came on my bus today, holding up a sheet of paper, putting all the elements of the periodic table. Specialist. I have a 10th grade student who is going to be a doctor. She wants to go in neuroscience. She's been contacted by Harvard, by Chicago University, but she's a straight A student. And again, science. She said that she taught herself during COVID, made up a song to learn the entire periodic table. Science. I'm sorry. But that's not why I'm here. As I said, I'm a school bus driver. I was heard that last Friday at the high school, there was a fire. Were you guys notified of this? I don't know. Do you get notified when events like this happen? I don't know what the protocol is, but the students were evacuated as expected, as they should have been. Do we know what the protocol is for returning the students back into the school? Does the fire chief determine that, or does the principal determine that?
Fire chief.
The fire chief?
The fire standing.
Okay, the fire
The
chief,
building is cleared.
They test the air quality, and if the air quality is good enough for the students return, then they return.
now this, yeah, okay, so this was a lithium ion, a phone that caught on fire, and I have a picture of it here, a student took a picture of it emitting smoke. And so apparently the fire chief gave the okay for the students to come back in.
Yeah.
Because I used to be in the fire brigade and I know we had air monitors
Yeah.
that measure for toxicity, hazardous waste. And so I hope that,
Yeah, they cleared it with that. They tested all the hallway, the rooms close to them, yeah.
that being said, now, okay, and I take that for what it is, because the student said, well, you can still smell it. That doesn't mean it was hazardous. You can still smell it.
Right.
The other issue though was that there, on the floor, there was a mark. There was a place where the phone was burning and left a mark. Students, once they were in school, were allowed to use that hallway and potentially step on that hazardous waste. Is that smart? I don't know, again, what the protocol is for cleaning up a situation like this. Should that area have been blocked off so students could use it? I realize it's a major hallway, or at least isolated. So my concern is for safety. Should be the students have been allowed to step on that mark potentially, or should it have been blocked off? That's what I would like you to consider. The second item, vaping in high school. Is it a problem? Have you heard whether it's a problem or not?
It's a problem in every high school.
No,
location.
I understand. Well, okay, so you're gonna divert it that way.
No.
I don't
no,
care about,
it-
I don't
it is
care
a
about
problem
other
here.
communities.
It's a problem everywhere.
All right,
Yeah, it's a problem here. and it's a problem
is there a plan to address it?
It's addressed every day.
This still goes on. Because it's leaking over onto my bus. Are the students, told if you see or hear something, say something? They're told that.
Mhm.
Are they believed?
We have many reports that are turned in by our students.
Okay, are they, because one specific instance on my school bus, a couple of high school students came up to me and said, there's vaping going on in the back. I said, okay, I'll report that to my manager. They got the video, because we have a video on the buses, turned it into the school. Apparently, you guys wouldn't believe the students that these kids were actually vaping. Because the response that I got back was, well, the school couldn't do anything, because even though you could tell that they were down here, we couldn't tell that they in fact were vaping. So you weren't believing the students. I don't think that's right. These students had nothing against these other kids that were doing the vaping. So they had no reason to turn them in. They just said, this is going on. But the school's response was, well, we can't, correct them because we don't know in fact that they were vaping. Well, then why should these students put themselves out and report it when they're not gonna be believed? If vaping is in fact happening on my bus, I don't know what I can do. I can't do it. I'm up in the front. I can't tell that it's happening at that. Could I get a monitor on the bus? Well, that's probably gonna be temporary because the kids will stop doing it until that monitor leaves. I don't know what the solution is, but I would hope that if a student says that these kids are vaping, that the school take action. And if enough students will start getting consequences for vaping, and not only vaping weed, vaping marijuana. Another time we're parked at the transfer at the middle school. And again, vaping was going on in the back. I called on board, the school resource officer wasn't available. So the middle school principal came on, along with my bus manager who was there, came on. They knew it. They told me, yeah, I can tell. Nothing happened. They didn't do anything. So why should I report it? If the school's not gonna do anything, why should I report it? The third item regarding safety. Was there an injury that happened to a track person recently that got hit by a discus thrown by another student?
John, I wanna, well, I didn't, I need to stop you right there. Our citizen comments, and which I should have explained it. at
3
the
minutes
beginning.
long, I'm sorry.
Well, no, not just 2 minutes, but our citizen comments are not meant for a conversation back and forth. They're meant for you to give us, you know, your
Okay.
concerns or your issues, and then somebody will follow up with you personally.
I apologize.
So
I'm sorry.
I just don't wanna appear like we're trying to be rude or anything.
No,
So, okay,
it's all good.
okay.
I'm sorry, and I apologize. I don't know if you were aware of a student that had to go to a hospital in Minneapolis because of a throw of a discus that hit that person in the head. My question is, how did that happen? Was it preventable? Should have been preventable, if there was a coach or an adult present. If there wasn't, how come that child was allowed to propel a discus and injure somebody? So one might ask the coaches. This can't happen. I go back to my Cub Scouting days when I was having a little kid and we'd shoot bow and arrows. First thing that they got taught was you do not shoot your bow and arrow if somebody's beyond this line towards the target. And we practiced it. You don't do it. Well, same thing here. You don't shot put or discus or javelin, not javelin. If somebody is downrange, you just don't do it. But apparently these kids maybe weren't given that message or weren't given it strong enough. So this injury could have been prevented, should have been prevented, because this can't happen. I'm talking safety, safety, safety. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to board member committee reports. And we'll start with Eric Stramberg.
I have nothing here.
Okay, Don?
I had agenda planning and then, we interviewed for our, student school board rep. Our junior that will be, coming on in the fall.
Thank you. Good. Melissa?
I was also at the school board representative interview. We did a couple of communication meetings, tighter connections. I also wanted to give an update on the primary garage sale. That raised $621, which doesn't sound like a lot until you really it's quarters.
Quarter apiece?
Yeah, it's like quarters from these kids,
That's
and
a lot of
they
stuff.
had so much fun. It's really the highlight of their just week. Yeah, they get two anyway. It's pretty fabulous. And then you can still. I wanted to just do it for the inclusive playground. This coming, not this weekend, but the next weekend is our the 5K walk, roll, run. So definitely take a look at that if you're interested. That's all I got.
Jen?
I am halfway through the phase 4. Got my last 3 hours on Friday. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you. I also attended, some of the referendum communication meetings. We had agenda planning and then we had, public engagement before this meeting. So, and Melissa was there.
Yeah.
So. We'll move on to student council reports.
So Mick isn't here today, but I'll read some of the stuff that she has. So for pre-K and early education, toddler and preschool story time with Miss Tiffany at the Princeton Library and baby story time with Miss Amy at the Princeton Library. Next Monday. For the primary school, I had the run, walk, and roll event. May 16, 9:15 through 11:15. For the intermediate, last week was Grandparents Week, which I went and it was super fun. They're also looking for volunteers for the end of the school year celebration. So if you have time to sign up. For the middle school is dressing up each week Wednesday. So tomorrow is dress up like a superhero day, and next Wednesday is beach day. Thursday is the middle school's choir concert, including the prelude song with the 5 schoolers who have been helping the middle school sing a song to honor Miss Middle's retirement. And next Wednesday is the middle school presidential awards program. For the high school track meet has a true meet at Apollo today with only 2 competitors per event against 12 schools. Next Monday is the high school band concert, and there's also senior award night this next Friday at the PAC.
Thank you. Superintendent report, Pat.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to close out the year pretty quick here. As we know, spring of the year is always fun for schools because you're so active and the kids are feeling it, staff's feeling it, everybody's feeling it right now. A lot of high energy in the building, so it's fun to see and also sometimes challenging. But it's a good time of the year. I do want to remind everybody that may be watching it. We have a week before the final election day of our referendum. So make sure between now and then we get out and vote. And a little bit of what's been happening, regular meetings, admin meetings, our executive team meetings, crisis team meeting today. We had on a company called Volo, VOLO, that does crisis response and communication really well. Do a little presentation for us. In attendance to not just our crisis team, we had Jen Super join virtually, and we also had Brian Lawrence, Representative Lawrence is on the crisis committee at the legislative level, and he's helped put together a bill that's going through right now from both the House and Senate. He's not sure they're gonna get together close enough to make it a bill that makes it further than that, but they both have a bill that wants to support schools in developing the crisis plans and giving them some money so that they have some funds to do that with. So we expect to maybe see somebody, whether this session or next, to help us with more crisis funding with flexibility. So that's good. We've had a couple principal negotiation meetings, and that's going well. Was able to go up to Mille Lacs county meeting where a lot of the county social service workers show up and kind of talk about how they can help schools. Not only social service work, but also we talked a lot about attendance and how we can help maybe promote and get our student attendance to be higher. So looking forward to working with them and partnering with them to help with that. We have our weekly referendum communication meeting. And then I also went to the monthly SAF meeting, which is for schools advocating for fair funding. And that happened by chance. Brian Lawrence was there as a guest to speak to all the superintendents. So it was good to see him there and talk about the bills that may or may not happen at the state level this session. We had our our early childhood community fair on April 25th. It's a good day, a lot of people. We also had some really good early voting happening that day, so that was great. We had over 60 people that early voted that morning, that 2-hour time. Been kind of a wrap up, and also next year planning with the ATTPS steering group, which is our QComp committees, and talking about which roles everybody needs to do and who's filling those roles. And we have some openings that we're looking for staff to fill. So we're working on that process. And then I had 2 presentations for the referendum. One was at Elam Home and the other one was at Sterling Point. Both went really well, and always fun to go out and talk to the people in the nursing homes. We had a MASA regional meeting in St. Cloud this week. Again, some reports on legislative and what's happening there, and also did some kind of professional development while we were there. And we've had, in the last week, Michelle and I have had, two different groups reach out to us, having interest of the middle school property again. So we'll see if there's see if anything happens from that, but we had one meeting already this week and we're having a second one later this week to see if this is,
No hockey affiliation.
not that I know. And for events, I've been getting to a lot of the sporting events and also the choir concert last night at the high school was really fun. They did a great job. And then, tomorrow night, just a shout out for the school board, scholar banquet, which should be a fun night to honor our top 5% seniors and eighth graders. So that looks fun to do, but I'd say lastly, just remember, go out and vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We will move on then to approve our agenda. Is there a motion to approve our agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Eric Stramberg. Any comments or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Agenda is approved. Next item is discuss and act on previous board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jen. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Item number 9, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric Stramberg. Any comments or questions on the consent? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, consent is approved. Item number 10, resolution for the acceptance of gifts. Is there a motion to approve the gifts as presented?
So moved.
Is that Jen?
Mhm.
Motion was made by Jen. Is there a second? Second by Eric Minks. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, item number 11. One information item tonight is our budget adjustments. Michelle.
Right, we put together a budget adjustment. The top part of that is our special ed area, as you know, the growth in our sped at the younger ages has finally caught up to our middle school. So we are actually in those areas at the middle school and high school, we were need to add one sped teacher to each of those buildings. We also have an ad for a sped teacher at the family center. We have had that out there for a year and a half now. We cannot find a licensed staff person, so this past year we used Paris. And ran that way, but they are still looking for a family center sped. The license is very hard to find.
So that takes a special one then for early childhood?
Yeah, they have to early childhood special education,
wow.
so it's a separate license from others.
Yeah, so it's not very easy to find. We have some paras reductions coming with this package for special education. There's 5. We have 2 of those paras are retiring. The other 3 that are on this list with no names is they had life changes, so they're empty spots right now. So we are not affecting current staff per se in this area. And then this year will actually be, as you recall, part of that 400,000 that we talked about adding because of changes in the system, when we sped, our insurance going up, transportation, all that kind of stuff. The estimated adjustments are listed below. I'm not going to read every line for line. Hopefully I have them in the right school, especially in the primary and intermediate, because the staff is they're changing back and forth. I'm not sure which building sometimes we should be in, but Jason and I looked at this multiple times prior to today, and we went through it one more time. So hopefully we're pretty close. The middle school has a retirement, so there's a little savings in there. I did up the average from 78,000 to 95 because it seems that everybody we're bringing in is over that. As you see, our sped teachers, one was 101,000 and one was 115. So we're getting experienced staff. The high school has an online overload. That isn't going to affect staff as far as full-time, but it will affect if they had an overload. We're gonna try and make sure that we are looking at, because of the kids that are going from seat-based into online, we need to be more prepared for the shift each try. So we're gonna be looking at that hard, because we had quite the influx at second try.
This is our POM,
This is, yeah,
but our
9 through
seat,
12.
9 through
9 through 12.
Yeah.
So, but our seat teachers
Our
are
teaching
teaching the
inspection.
online,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I did meet with both Ryan and Rebecca recently and we talked through what that schedule can look like. Obviously having two separate principals, making sure that they are communicating so that we are building a schedule that will, we're learning what those trend numbers are so that we can cover third trimester or potentially even back to second trimester now with the existing staff that we have versus adding sections as we had to do this last year because we already had staff assigned and yet maybe it was a class of 18 to 20 kids and then we had multiples of those. We could actually be combining those, still keeping within our parameters and then allowing the opportunity for one of our teaching staff to pick up that POM as part of their teaching assignment. So it's gonna be working with the schedules.
And that's because that part's away from the venture part, so we can do that within our
Yeah,
building.
it's two different, venture is just K-8 and then we are in control of our, not that we're not in control of
Right,
it,
the
but
staffing.
its staffing is different.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Works a little bit well. We also have a long-term sub change there due to a staff member returning. At the district level, and I'm saying district level because I didn't know where else to put like the health aid, because there was so much movement. I just, somewhere in the district, we're going down. We actually have already done that. We did not replace one, here, about the January timeframe, but it's still in the budget currently. Jason Ho went out for trash quotes and, so we're gonna see a savings there. And we don't need to run a big election next year, so we'll reduce that out of there. The family center had a retirement savings a little bit, and that, these are estimated adjustments because in some places where we are having people come back, we don't always know where they're gonna be placed on the schedule. And then the student support funding, as you recall, we got that money during the 23-24 session, I believe it was. And I just learned that we have to somehow show that we would reduce that position during budget reductions, for us to use a position we already have. For the funds, and as you see, it's $98,000, so we definitely don't want to lose that. There may be also a resolution that we have to do, but that would be in June. I just wanted to get you guys prepared for, we might have to do a little dance here to keep that funding based on the rules. And then Title I, we got our preliminary allocation. And of course, over the last couple of years, that funding has gone down and it's going down again. We used to have, I believe, 8 pairs, 10 pairs, maybe between the two buildings, and we are now going to be down to 2 pairs per building. Usually this happens later in the summer, because that's when we get numbers. Sometimes the numbers are really delayed, but interestingly enough, we got those numbers in April, so I'm able to include it on this conversation here, so that you are aware of it. And that functions like a grant. So, we have always brought that in according to, the funds received and what the expenses are, so. Jason, Pat, would you like to add anything? It was not an easy year.
No, and again, I'm just gonna come back to, you know, our student enrollment is what is driving this decision making. You know, our current high school classes are in the 230s. Well, I think we have a 240 in there as well. Our projections for next year, rolling our kids forward, and then with kindergarten, fifth grade, we're looking at about 230, 220 in fourth grade, 204 in third grade. Second grade goes to 195. First grade is at 181, and we're projecting 170 kindergartners. So at this point, so we're looking at you know, potentially anywhere from a 50 to a 90 student difference when you're looking at your high school students to what we have currently enrolled in our elementaries. And so, you know, staffing is very difficult. We have to look for opportunities to take advantage of openings that we maybe have or retirements. We'll take a look at licensures. We take a look at the ways that we can cause the least amount of disruption with our staff. And sometimes that does mean that we do need to move people in order to keep our highly qualified staff. So I know it is not easy. It's not easy for staff. It's not easy for us. But in order to stay within our budget parameters, these are things that need to be done.
I would say the one thing that, you know, this is you know, a reduction of expenses from all these reductions, but these reductions were not budget driven. They were right size driven. You know, what is our class size parameters, and are we in those for the first grade level, at the second grade level, at the third grade level? If we're not, then we have to reduce a section to be in that size. Can be good stewards of the funds that we're given. We gotta make sure that we're not running class sizes way underneath our parameters, and all of a sudden we're having, you know, 17, 18 a class in elementaries because our funds don't allow it, and that's not being good stewards of our money. So we right sized, and when we start looking deeper at right sizing, we start seeing that there was more opportunities to have a budget saving, if you will, but that wasn't the driving force. It was more to make sure that our class sizes weren't smaller than they should be. And, you know, it'd be nice if we could all have small class sizes, but that's not how our funds are worked. And so we have to make sure we keep in our parameters. I would say, to Jason's point, the other thing is our team did a really good job of sitting as a full administrative team of principals saying, okay, if instead of going in 2 or 3 more ULAs where we'd have to release teachers that are here and doing great work, is there some openings that we can move people with licensure so that we don't have to reduce more people from their livelihood, if you will. So that's why the movements were needed. And I know that all this is painful, change is painful, but it did allow us to save a few more teachers to stay as a Princeton employee.
Yeah. So when we talk about right sizing classrooms and adjusting based on our numbers, how then is that applied to the specialists?
You got it, you want me to?
Go ahead.
So I think over the last 2 or 3 years, the primary and intermediate had not really looked real close at what that meant. So I would guess probably 4 years ago, they might have had like 30 to 32 sections in their building. Next year, each of them will have 24 sections in their building. So when you have that many sections, that's how many sections go to specialists. So as you lose those sections, they have actually open hours. And that's what was starting to happen over the last couple of years. And when we asked them to dig deeper, they realized that next year they would have a full position of open hours. And that's why both specialists need to be reduced at both levels, because there's a full opening.
So I'm sorry, what was the specialist that was reduced at the intermediate school then?
So each building had five specialists.
Rotation.
Teachers. Intermediate had FIAD, music, art, and tech class. And then in the primary, they had two FIAD teachers. And then the primary has two FIAD teachers, art, music, and science. And so again, taking a look at what we had for licensures, what we had for openings, the team came together and said, this is gonna be the best options that we have available. Had we gone straight down the line, we're laying off or putting someone on ULA that has 8 years of teaching experience in the elementary. So I applaud our administrative team for looking at options that would allow staff to move to keep them here. But yeah, it comes down to, we had openings available because there wasn't enough sections to equate to another full-time specialist.
Are specialists bound to the building or can they eventually be shared? So if they only could they have gone between the intermediate and the primary? I mean, have we?
They can, schedule wise, you gotta make sure that your schedules line up then. Right now, 24 sections, it works out ideal for 4 specialists in each building. When we look at, our high school, middle school, there may be opportunities where we're gonna have to take a look and say, wow, staff member may teach mornings in one building and afternoons in the other. We also would look at that in our elementaries. It's just a lot more difficult with the way their schedules are set up.
I think to your point, Jen, is yes, that can happen, and many times that does happen. You have a shared specialist.
Yeah, we shared a media
buildings.
specialist in the past.
And could have that been looked at in the last couple of years? Maybe, probably, but it hadn't been. But in this year, when we commissioned that, you take a look at it, this is what we found out. And then I would say another thing is the selection of what specialist stayed was not an easy discussion. There was a lot of discussion on what was most needed at each one of those buildings. And that's how it turned out, was the decision for science is not a normal specialist rotation in a primary school. Art, music, and FIAD is. And science and social studies is usually taught in the classroom at most primaries. And we needed somebody with licensure to fill a spot at the middle school. So that's how that kind of all played out, if you will. We did look at music and that potential. But there's, we heard a little bit tonight about what the science of science learning does. Well, the science of music learning, the science of art learning, the science of FIAD out and exercise, all those have a science behind it to tell you it's needed. But we know that in many schools, the science is taught by the classroom teacher.
And so since we've talked a lot about science, there's 2 areas I want to ask questions. Is science has been, if we've drawn in kids for enrollment because of that primary science class. So what's our game strategy? Because when we've had parents thinking about going to Cambridge, Malacca, Elk River, they have come to Princeton because of that science program. How are we going to combat that when our numbers are already being lost? They'll pick those schools over us. But also, when you look at every building and where our science scores are, and when you're reading the seniors this year and previous years, the amount of kids we are putting out into the medical field, engineering, that are using, and they started that foundation when they went into kindergarten. We're known for some of those fields. How are we going to combat and keep that a strong suit for Princeton schools?
I think two couple things on your question, Don, is one, we're not reducing science. We're reducing the science specialists. That curriculum is still expected to be taught. So that science is not going away. That learning of science is not going away. The second part of that question sounds like an opinion to me. I don't know if we have hard data anywhere that shows that enrollment showed up here
I've
for
been
science.
talked to, since this has all been going on, I've been talked to by kindergarten teachers. And that is one thing that when they are working with parents enrolling, that is one of their things that they talk to.
And we can
expecting
survey that
parents.
to get
And-
real data.
And
'Cause that's
that's what
opinion
they have
data.
told me is, how are we gonna replace that? That is one of our things we have used to get that student in our building as a kindergarten teacher. And so I've gotten talked to by,
And I know they're hurting right now, so they are gonna say things like that. I was at the kindergarten roundup. Do you know how many kindergarten parents were there? About 22. So when they're getting told that they're coming here for science, there was nobody talking about coming there for science at that time, and that's who was enrolled that night. So the enrollment doesn't come from a campaign of science. Enrollment become, maybe because of our reputation, maybe, but we're not losing our science curriculum.
but then also with that, are we gonna have an expense in curriculum going into the classroom, or is that gonna be a even wash out? Will there be a increase in curriculum into the classrooms, or will that already be covered from the previous science that was offered? Are we gonna have an expenditure there?
I would have to ask Jessica on this one, but, Tom's curriculum isn't Tom's curriculum. Tom's curriculum is our district's curriculum.
Correct,
So we have that curriculum.
but is that gonna be curriculum that's gonna be able to transfer into classrooms, or are we gonna have to get new classroom curriculum for science?
Like in our intermediate, Lincoln doesn't leave his class for science, so it's in his curriculum, so I would imagine that it's the same.
And if there's something specific they're needing, they may still have that space as a lab space that they go and check out and go to. You know, I think the question you're trying to say is, are we gonna have to buy 24 sets of science equipment? No. We have always done that. That was part of the curriculum that was in there. So now it's just being distributed back into our teaching staff. And like I said, that space potentially will still be there for them to use if they want to use it for specific labs. But there are certain things they can go out to the outside classroom. They can still do those other experiments and things within their classrooms. So there are still opportunities. Is it going to look different? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you have a change, it looks different. And yeah, Tom's a phenomenal teacher. Great guy. Kids love him, absolutely. And anytime there's a change like that, there's going to be feelings.
Middle school kids will also love Tom.
Yeah.
We are also losing a very skilled teacher in Torkelson.
Correct.
And Tom is the most logical replacement to replace Torkelson at that middle school level. Like, we can't lose sight of that either. Yes, I know we're losing, like, we're affected by what happens at the primary school right now. We get it. Feelings are hurt. I'm sure Tom's upset about it. But I think Tom probably sees the big picture and sees that he could be used at the middle school and can make an impact on those kids' lives at the middle school level for the next however many years he has until he decides to retire.
Probably knows all those kids.
100%.
I was going to say kind of the same thing, but just to add our science scores need improvement across the district. I think having Tom in that building is going to be a great experience he affects kids regardless of their age. He's an amazing teacher. So as much as this sucks, and it does suck, I am grateful that we were able to keep him in this district. And I think that the impact he's going to have on these kids who did have him in kindergarten, first and second grade, I think that it'll be a much different impact, but I think it's still going to be a positive impact for our district. Now, does it, again, absolutely suck that we don't have science? And has this been something I've cried about multiple times? Yes, but it's also saving someone else a job too. it's a mess, but
We
still.
still have sun.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're not, I shouldn't say that, to lose that extra classroom, but we're still, like, the PTO just bought microscopes for that room. The room is not going away, like, the specialist is going away, but Tom's not going away. Like, to me, we're not losing that asset in our district, so it sucks, but we still have the things. They're just.
His impact is going to be used elsewhere, and probably more effective
Yes.
at the
So-
middle school level, because our science scores will most likely increase with Tom teaching those kids.
And they've had good scores. I mean, our science scores
Science
are
scores aren't bad.
much better than other areas. And yeah, it's gonna be an impact and yeah, it's good.
I just appreciate there being a rational explanation for how the decision was made, because until tonight, I hadn't heard a rational explanation. And so not having one to share with the community is hard. And so,
Maybe that's another idea of a meeting or something that maybe that can be shared more with some of the teachers in the buildings. I know that it was.
They could have all
shared.
been here tonight to know the rational explanation if they wanted to.
They don't want to.
And it's been communicated from us through emails in that rational way, and I know the union has even talked to me in that rational way, saying that this process was not an easy one. But it also allowed us not to reduce 2 to 3 more teachers out of our workforce. And then bring in 2 to 3 more new teachers. Because we had the licensure there, but we didn't move them because of, some heartfelt things. And then we lose 3 that we really wanted to keep 2. Cause if we would've lost those 3 extra deep, you would've had another room talking about why you're cutting those 3 more extras. So it's.
Maybe it's worth sending up a link.
Darn if you do, darn if you don't, but
Video for our.
this allowed us to keep more of our staff and we utilized them in a really positive way.
And we know we're gonna have cuts, we know that. How much were you in the building, Pat, talking with these teachers? Because I've been reached out from parents and teachers and paras. And I think if there is a presence of the admin there and some of this could have been handled, I would maybe not have gotten as much either. So it's hard, it's hard, everyone is busy. But they also need somebody to listen to them. And where, I don't know.
So each of the building principals did communicate this to
Yeah,
their
they
full
had
staff.
staff meeting.
We had a full rollout strategy of how to do this, and it was done in the most delicate way it could be done. And the door has been opened by all administration even after the rollout. Each person affected was talked to on a timely basis. Each principal knew exactly what time they needed to talk to them, so that the word didn't get out in front of the other one. And then after that, each principal had a building meeting and explained it in full detail of why the logic was behind it. And the reports that I have had back have been that the buildings understood the rationale, they just were hurt and didn't like the outcome.
And like Jen, I had a little bit towards the end of last week, but I had somebody at my work that afternoon that it was rolled out at the primary. And so I was hit blindsided. Giving us a heads up as well would have been helpful in giving us some key items that we could discuss and point out, would have been grateful too.
The board meeting beforehand, I specifically said this is when it will be happening. And I remember because Melissa says I work there,
Yeah.
I would really like to know some details. I said, Melissa, I can't give you details because the people employed should get their details first. But I can tell you that these conversations are gonna be had. So I did say that at the last board meeting, when these would be.
I knew cuts were coming, but we didn't know where. And I get that you wanna roll it out. But at the same token, as a board person, I wanna be able to represent the board with the best of my knowledge and not be blindsided, if that makes sense.
I mean, I'm literally in both of those buildings every single day. And for the record, I don't teach, I volunteer, so I'm not like causing some whatever, money thing that, don't board accused of. But anyway, and And I didn't know either. I mean, I knew that we approved, but I didn't know, and I found out the same way that everybody, I mean, actually, I wasn't at like a staff meeting because I'm not a staff, so I found out that way and I called Pat and said, hey, now that everyone knows, fill me in, please, and he did that, so I don't know, like, it's, again, it sucked. That's my whole word for the meeting, it sucked. But
And it's a fine line between what's management and what's governance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's, the work that we had to do with all this is really management work.
Yeah.
It's day to day.
Yeah, yeah, and we're presenting you the governance work at the meetings.
And I felt comfortable asking after that because
Right.
I'm also in the building.
Right.
Doing teaching, so.
Any other questions, comments? All right, this is information, so I assume this is on our next agenda.
This will be part of the entire budget.
Okay.
We will have the entire, hopefully the entire budget, at least fund one at the next meeting.
Okay.
We approved the budget in June and it will, as always, be, the list of adjustments will be on, attachment will be on that.
Okay.
So that is when you will formally vote for it. As far as the staffing that it affects, you actually vote on those that are leaving the system, not so much those that are being transferred to another position, but, those that are gonna be on unrequested leave of absence are on the action tonight.
Yeah.
I just wanna say, like, I totally understand and frustrations and everything, but as someone whose job it is to get rid of people when they need to get rid of people, I totally understand where you guys come from. It's not a fun position to be in, but it's a job that has to be done, right? And it's a job that's going to have to be done again next year. So we need to just keep being mentally prepared that this is a never-ending issue. And it's only going to get worse because we've already trimmed pretty much everywhere we think we can trim. But I appreciate the work you guys do, and I know it's not easy.
Well, and if our enrollment stays the way it is, I mean, if it keeps on trending like it is, this right sizing is just gonna move from building to building. So, I mean, that is our reality.
That's more kids, I'm gonna throw that out there. Yeah.
More kids.
Enroll them in our district, what?
We said we should send Jason out with the bus and come back with a whole bus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no vaping on.
Yeah.
That's a very point.
Any other thoughts or questions on the budget adjustments?
I would just like to say that if a board member has an issue, that we all have cell phones and we can call and have a private conversation about whether or not we're unhappy with how things are going. I do not believe that the board meeting in public is the place to air our grievances.
All right, we will move on to our one and only action item tonight. We have a resolution for placement of contract teacher onto unrequested leave of absence. Is there a motion to approve this resolution as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa, second by Eric Minks. Any comments or questions on the resolution?
So the way this works, because this is a budgetary reduction.
Yes.
So we have to work through our seniority list from the bottom up. Two of these members have tenure status, so we will bring them back. Most senior, we offer the position to them, most senior, then the next. They have the opportunity to turn it down if they were selected somewhere else. But if we were to have an opening, say our kindergarten numbers bloomed and we hit that 190 mark.
Sure.
Then we would have the opportunity to offer that job back to them. Obviously, if they take it, great, they fall back into that same seniority list. If they turn it down, they have that option. So this kind of holds their spot for up to 5 years, or depending on if we have an opening.
Okay.
So that's how that works.
In their licensure area.
In their licensure area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we have some early childhood special ed openings. None of these staff have early childhood special ed licensure. they can absolutely apply for that position and we would interview them and work through the out-of-field permission if we need to. But we can't just offer them the position without the corporate license.
Okay.
So there are 3 names there. Yep.
So that is 5 years. Is that statute then?
So say they stayed here and subbed in our system for the next year, 2, 3 years, and if we had a position open, we would be required to offer them that
Starting
position.
with the most senior person.
Yeah, that's on the list. Yeah.
So
Can I ask, I think this was stupid. So if they can take a job in another district?
They could.
Okay, they take it, but then do they automatically go off the list then, or do they still get to stay on for 5 years?
They go on until, like, if we were to have an opening, I would call and say, hey, Don, we have an opening.
So then,
And if you say, no, I'm not taking that, then I take you off my list.
so then,
And so it's not a full 5 years. You can, once you turn down a position.
yep,
Then you're off the list.
but say they get a teaching job and 3 years later, you contact them, they could leave that job and come back to ours.
They could, yeah,
Really?
As long as that was their first call.
as long as that. Yeah.
Then that's,
As long
I
as,
didn't know
yeah.
they could do that.
Yep.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, that was a statute thing that was
Yep.
put in a few years back, you know.
So if you really get a teacher that's really good and you want, we could possibly get them back when it's within that time frame.
Could.
If they
Yep.
accept
If
our
they're
offer.
still, yeah, if they haven't accepted a position.
But then they
don't
still
want-
get their 10-year spot wherever they're at then.
Yeah, the tenure, I mean, they'd have to be in 1 year plus. they get
Well,
their
yeah,
tenure
you
status
said
there.
some were 10-year.
Yep, 2 of them,
So-
are. Yep.
If they go teach somewhere else, do they get to count that? Or do they come back where they left here?
They come back where they left off here. Yeah, their unrequested,
experience,
yeah, their unrequested leave of absence doesn't continue to gain.
Years of experience.
It just holds them in that spot. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yep.
Is that a each person vote one?
It's
Yes,
a
yeah.
resolution, yes.
Is there any other questions or comments on the resolution? All right, hearing none, we will vote by roll call, starting with Jen. Yes. Melissa?
Yes.
Eric, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Eric Strimber. All right, resolution passes. We have no additions to the agenda. Just a reminder, tomorrow night is school board scholar banquet. And that's scheduled for 6:30, but we should probably be there at 6, right?
Yeah, good idea.
Your speaker's gonna be awesome.
Be the welcoming committee. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Oh.
If any of you have extra tickets, you want to turn back in,